Lagos runs the largest university in Africa. It has no gates, no vice chancellor, and no graduation gown. It has 75,000 lecture halls, all of them painted yellow, all of them moving at questionable speed. Tuition is a few hundred naira per lecture, payable in cash to a man hanging out of a door. Today we enroll. Welcome to Danfo University. First, inspect your lecture hall. A yellow minibus with black stripes, the official Lagos uniform. So the city's buses swarm like bees with anger issues. Study the body. Every dent is a certificate. Every scratch has a story, and the story usually begins with the words, "One yeye driver like this." And read the bus because the bus talks. The back of a danfo is Nigeria's shortest philosophy department. No condition is permanent. Remember, 6 feet. God's case, no appeal. One classic slogan simply says, 24 hours on the road. Hold that one. By the end of this lecture, it will stop being funny. Officially, the bus seats 14. Officially, Lagos has never once respected that number. 4 in a row that was built for 3. One so balanced on the engine cover, and somehow, always, room for one more. Now meet your faculty. At the wheel, the driver, professor of applied everything, geography, physics, psychology, brickmanship, and prayer. And hanging from the door frame, half inside, half outside, fully in charge, the conductor, teaching assistant, cashier, bouncer, and town crier in one body. It is the conductor's voice that runs the city. Oshodi, Oshodi, Oshodi straight. CMS, no change oh. And the most important word in the Lagos transportation, Owa. In our very first episode, we mentioned people shouting Owa. This is its natural habitat. Owa. It has reached, meaning, driver, this is my stop, and I am prepared to announce it with my full chest. Lecture 1. Ownership, or the landlord you will never meet. Here is the first secret of the danfo. The man driving it almost never owns it. Somewhere in Lagos sits the owner, and the owner has one interest in this bus. A fixed amount of money delivered to him every single day. Driver call it delivery, rain or shine, traffic or breakdown. The delivery does not move. The driver's own salary is whatever remains after delivery, after fuel, after everything else you are about to meet. Now, rewatch the driving with new eyes. The rushing, the overloading, the gap of half a meter that he entered with faith alone. Every madness you have ever witnessed in a danfo has a spreadsheet behind it. Behind that wheel, a man is chasing a number, and the number shows no mercy. Lecture 2. Taxation. And this is where Danfo University gets expensive. Before this bus moves 1 meter from the park, a man appears at the window. He's wearing green and white, or something just confidence. He is the Agberu, the union ticket man, and he has come to collect. Collect what exactly? Students, open your notebooks because the list of levies is a masterpiece. Money for loading, money for booking, money for dropping, money for morning, money for afternoon, money for evening, money for weekend, money for sanitation, money for security. And the crown jewel of the entire list, an actual documented levy called Onje Chairman, the chairman's food. Somewhere up the ladder there is a chairman, and this boss is buying his lunch. Sometimes a ticket is issued. Investigators found tickets with 300 naira printed on their face, collected alongside 2,000 naira in cash. That ticket is a souvenir, not a receipt. It does not stop at the park. At junction after junction along the route, the same tax returns wearing different clothes. Drivers report parting with 3, 4, 5,000 naira every single day before they have earned their home breakfast. One investigation sat down and did the full arithmetic for Lagos. Buses, tricycles, Okada, all the daily levies added up across a year. The estimate came to 123 billion naira every year, collected in cash at road level, junction by junction. For balance, we must report the unions reject the word extortion. They call it dues, and they demand evidence. The drivers, when asked, use other words. This channel cannot repeat those words. And researchers who study the system note one more detail. These street networks tend to become very energetic around election season. We will say no more. We have said enough. Lecture 3. Economics. Because no classroom on earth teaches market forces like a danfo. Observe such pricing. Decades before Henry Hap invented it. The sky darkens over Lagos. Before the first drop of rain lands, the fear has doubled. Nobody held a meeting and nobody sent a memo. Supply, demand, and dark clouds settle the matter among themselves. Observe the fuel connection. Whatever happens to petrol happens to this bus by morning. We made an entire episode about 1 January when the fuel price moved and the whole country stood still. The danfo was the first to know and the fear was the first messenger. And observe the most delicate negotiation in Nigerian commerce. Change. You enter with 1,000 naira note. The conductor collects it and says nothing. Your change is now a hostage. You will watch him. He will avoid your eyes. Somewhere near your stop, the negotiation will resume. In public, at volume. Enter with your change sounds like advice. Treat it as a peace treaty. Lecture 4. Sociology. Look around the cabin because all of Lagos is in air. The office worker, ironed and pressed at 5 in the morning, guarding his shirt from the whole world. The market woman with a basin that has its own seats and its own opinions. Students sharing one hairpiece. A grandmother who has appointed herself supervisor of the driver. At some point, someone will stand up and preach. Nobody invited him. Nobody will stop him. Every danfo is also a church at no extra charge, whether you registered or not. And through the window, in traffic, the university runs its cafeteria. Gala, lacasera, plantain chips, boiled groundnuts. Lagos invented the drive-thru decades ago. It simply put the restaurant on legs and made it chase the customer. A quick history interlude. Because the danfo has an ancestor, the Molue, the giant yellow beast of old Lagos. A certain saxophonist we dedicated the whole episode to once measured the Molue in a song. 49 sitting, 99 standing. That line was a head count, not a punchline. The Molue has mostly faded from the roads. The danfo buried its father and inherited the city. Back to our route, where one more faculty remains, the gauntlets. Traffic officials here, a checkpoint there, each stop adding a small subtraction. Look again at the levy list from lecture 2. There was money for the police on it too. Nothing on this road is free, including moving. And so we arrive at the final lecture, nightfall, the balancing of the books. Can't with the driver. Everything collected today, seat by seat, shout by shout, minus fuel, minus the levies, junction by junction, minus repairs, because something is always crying in that engine, minus the owner's delivery, untouchable, non-negotiable. What remains is ease. The man who worked the longest day in the loudest office, under the most pressure, keeps the smallest share. That slogan from the start, 24 hours on the road. Researchers measured real danfo work days at close to 20 hours. The boss was barely exaggerating. So here is your graduation thought. The driver you called a madman this morning is a small businessman running a company where everybody eats before he does. The owner eats. The union eats. The chairman's lunch is purchased. The checkpoint eats. Then finally him. Read the dents again. That is not carelessness. That is pressure, painted yellow. And here is the miracle. Government have announced the end of the danfo more times than anyone can count. New buses were launched. Grand plans were declared. The danfo attended every one of those announcements and then carried the attendees home. Because the danfo goes where Lagos actually lives. Down the streets, no map respects. At the hours, no schedule covers. For the price the real city can pay. It is loud, squeezed, taxed from every direction, held together by wire and willpower, and still moving. If you want to understand Lagos, do not read a report. Pay the fare. The yellow bus is not in the city. The yellow bus is the city. Class dismissed. Drop your own danfo story in the comments. Every Lagosian has at least one. And the best ones are never about the bus. Next time, the story this channel has owed you since the day it opened. 1993, Nigeria organizes the freest, fairest election in its history. The winner is clear. The country is waiting. And then one man with one announcement cancels everything. June 12. Bring your chest.